Welcome to the Heroic Investing Show. As first responders, we risk our lives every day. Our financial security is under attack. Our pensions are in a state of emergency. A single on-duty incident can alter or erase our earning potential instantly and forever. We are the heroes of society. We are self-reliant and we need to take care of our own financial future. The Heroic Investing Show is our toolkit of business and investing tactics on our mission to financial freedom.
Welcome to the Heroic Investing Show, a podcast for first responders, members of the military, veterans, and anyone looking to improve their financial future and gain some freedom with their time. We teach America's heroes how to build passive income, build their startup business, and safely grow wealth through real estate and other alternative investments. We help current and prior first responders put protections, systems, and a team in place to help them build a life where they can focus on their passion, that service or product that they are uniquely gifted to share with others, making the world a better place for all of us. My name is Gary Pinkerton, and I co-host this show with Jason Hartman. This is episode 200. Yeah, we hit the big 200. And like all 10th episodes, we go off topic here for a little bit of self-improvement. Today's episode is Jason interviewing Grant Cardone. And this is a couple years old. I think it ran as like 800 on the Creating Wealth show, and he's over 1,200 now. So it was a little bit back. It's about his book, The 10X Rule. And listen, I love revisiting and listening to people, being around people that are extremely high energy, and Grant Cardone definitely falls in that. I would also put Tony Robbins, Garrett Gunderson. These guys are just really, really great to be around. They get your blood pumping, they get your vitality up, and they make you think that you can achieve greatness, which is really the point of self-improvement, right? And motivational events, motivational weekends, etc. They don't always last, but they definitely get you going in the moment. And, another guy who talks a lot about 10X is Dan Sullivan. Now, it's a different approach, but he has a group called the 10X Elite Group of Strategic Coach. And I was a member of Strategic Coach for a while and got great value out of it. But in the 10X thing, Dan Sullivan talks about it's easier to grow your company by 10 times than it is by 3 times. And the real concept there is that growing by 3 times, your approach is going to be, it's a sight, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so you can just make adjustments to what you're currently doing. And so you have some good habits and some bad habits, and those bad habits are bad practices in your business. You're just going to try to polish those, improve those a little bit. Maybe you're going to work long extra hours, hire one more person, but you're not going to completely reinvent, and that's going to prevent you from getting really, really big. Problem is you've squeezed everything out of the sponge that you can to get that first 3X, and then you go the next year and try to do 3X again. There's just no room for it anymore, right? Because you're trying to squeeze stuff out of that old model. Well, if you change your business by 10 times, that requires a complete reevaluation. In most cases, reinventing what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so it causes you to think bigger, it causes you to think differently, and it causes you to really identify those things which are kind of the anchors that are in your plan that you need to throw away. You need to get rid of them because they are weighing you down. And when you're only thinking about a small incremental improvement, you're not doing the hard decisions, which is let's get rid of this thing, reinvent, take a completely different approach. Anyway, so it's pretty exciting stuff. That's the kind of stuff that Grant Cardone talks about in this one. And as a special 10th episode here for number 200, I thought you'd really enjoy getting a little bit jazzed up here talking with Mr. Grant Cardone.
Hey, it's my pleasure to welcome Grant Cardone to the show. You've probably heard his name. He's a New York Times best-selling author, executive producer of the reality show Turnaround King, and the host of the Cardone Zone. And he's author of several books. One of them I just finished, which is entitled The 10X Rule. And he's coming to us today from Miami Beach. Grant, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Well, good. It's good to have you on. Tell us what you're up to nowadays. What's keeping you most busy? You got some great books. You got a new book out, Sell or Be Sold. And, maybe we'll talk mostly about the 10X rule because I just finished it. But tell us what's going on.
Yeah, Jason, what am I up to? I'm up to hustle. I'm a hustler, and I like to work. I told my wife this weekend, I said, I'm sorry I was angry with you this weekend. I just didn't have enough. Weekends are too long. I like producing. I like doing things. I like, I'm not a big vacation guy or so many parties or The long weekends kill me. So I like to produce. I like to work. I like to hustle. I like to make my family proud of me. I'm extremely scared of the economic conditions, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide. And, I want to make sure I can provide for them. So I'm always got this hustle thing going. I'm getting ready to do a project with Steve Harvey where we go around the country, me and Big Steve, and talk to people about act like success.
Well, what does it mean to act like success? Tell us about that.
Well, I think you and I were having a little bit of a conversation before I got on, and it was like commit first, figure the rest out later. I mean, that's been really the theme of my career. I was 25 years old. I was broke. I had no money. I had an education that nobody valued. I was in an economic condition where they weren't hiring. The wrong time to be broke is when they're not hiring anybody.
Right.
And here I came up broke financially. I was broke spiritually. I didn't like myself. I was like giving up on myself, and my family had given up on me. And I'm like, one day I'm like, dude, you need to start acting like you're successful, because this thing, waiting for the right break, waiting to figure it out, waiting for something to happen just wasn't working for me. And one day I was selling cars. Actually, I was 25 years old. And I'm like, okay, I hate this job. I hate selling cars. I hate the way people look at me. I got to start acting like I'm successful right here, right now, because nobody else was going to give me a job. And I was young, immature, thought, acted more confident probably than I was. I still probably do that today. And one day I just said, okay, every dollar I make, I'm going to reinvest in myself. And I started learning and listening and getting mentors and surrounding myself with success. And I started acting successful. And next thing, my money changed a little bit. And when it changed a little bit, it gave me hope that it could change a lot. And then I started liking my job. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, maybe I could learn this thing.
Yeah, that's like the self-reinforcing circle. You got into the circle that started reinforcing itself.
Yeah. And that's why you like that commit first, figure the rest out later, because everybody's trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. It's like people talk to me, they're like, man, how do you write 4 books in 4 years? My first book was written in 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how do you write a book in 3 hours? You sit down and you start writing.
Right.
That's what you do. How do you finish a book? Most people start books. Actually, most people don't buy books today because they didn't finish the last one they bought. And why? Because because you never make a decision when to finish the book. Mm-hmm. You made a decision to start the book. You didn't make a decision to finish it. So now when I buy a book, and I read a lot of books, in the front of it, I'll put my finish date on it because I already know my start date. It was when I opened it. And commit first, and then you figure the rest out later. You know what it's going to cost you, how you're going to do it. Most of us don't know what we're doing or how we're going to do it. We just made a decision to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. That's good advice. Well, Grant, talk about this commit first and figure it out later. Let's drill down on that one because I think that's so meaningful. So many people, they want to figure it all out beforehand. It's like, okay, let's write a business plan. Let's write a business plan for, this business idea or for our whole lives. And the fact is nobody can figure it out because you don't know what's going to happen along the way. You just got to dive in and do it, right?
You're so right. I just finished, I'm creating a digital TV internet website. Okay. Basically it's a digital station. It's something that hasn't been done very much yet. I mean, this whole space of digital is like consuming TV and radio. And so we're in the office right now and they're telling, I said, hey, when's this site going to be up? And they're like, month, 2 months. I'm like, have you figured on all the stuff that's going to go wrong?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? I said, we don't know what we're doing. Okay, we just know we're going to do it. And look, I own 4 businesses. All of them do in excess of $10 million a year in sales in revenue. They were all started from scratch. I have never, ever written a business plan because I know whatever you write down, it might make you feel warm and fuzzy. Look, you don't even know enough to write the stuff that's going to have monsters and demons and the things you need to worry about. You don't even know yet. Okay, so spending time on a business plan. Oh, I'm going to go to these people. I'm going to talk to these people. Look, 3 months from now, you won't even be worried about those things. It's going to be so many things happen, because I even told my internet department, have y'all planned on, what was the thing, Lisa? Malaria or meningitis or the next, because something's going to happen and nobody plans on all that stuff. And so I'm with you, man. I've never spent any time on a business plan. And look, I've done things that were as simple as me just going out and kind of making it up as I go to doing huge real estate deals where there's hundreds of millions of dollars involved and still not had a business plan, knowing I had to construct that kind of as I went, but I had to commit first. And then I could start figuring things out after the commitment, as esoteric as that might sound.
Everything starts with a commitment. And then from there, we iterate and iterate and iterate to get to where we want to go. Yeah, that's good. Well, tell us about the 10X rule in general, Grant, if you would. That's one of the keys to the 10X rule. But there are so many of them. I mean, that book is awesome. It's just you have so many entries in the table of contents. There's just a lot to it, a lot of meat there.
Oh, thank you. And you listened to the audio.
The audio, yeah.
Well, the audio was done about 6 months after the book was finished, and that's when I'm getting a lot of feedback from readers. I mean, anybody that writes a book, if you've sold books before, not just written books, because a lot of people write them, very few people can sell books. And once you start selling books, that means people are reading them. Okay, then you start getting feedback. So I waited 6 months and recorded this to include the questions people are asking us, like, hey, man, I got it. Okay, the 10X rule. I'm supposed to do 10 times more what I think I'm going to do. Yeah, but do you know what that means? And the guy's like, what do you mean? I said, well, do you know when you're doing 10X times what's normal? And he's like, no, I don't. I said, because you'll immediately have new problems. So like you want new problems. The 10X rule is based on a concept that the goals, targets, and actions that people are setting are so beneath them. They're so low, basically based on their potential, is that people become unexcited over time about that target. And so you find yourself not having the juice to complete things, or you don't wake up excited on, day 27 because I believe the target was too low. Now, while your parents are going to tell you that you need to set realistic goals, when they tell you that, you need to ask them, hey, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah, right.
Because really highly successful people, okay, the Carlos Slims, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, I mean, the people that are really super successful, if you tell them you want to be worth $1 billion and you're 17 years old, they're not going to look at you like you're weird. They're not going to say, oh, that's ridiculous. If you tell these guys you want to, basically cure a disease, they're not going to say ridiculous because their think is so giant. Unfortunately, most people, Jason, are getting advice and feedback from people that don't dream anymore and don't have goals. The 10X rule, as you know, basically re-inspires the individual to think way bigger about their goals, their targets, and their actions.
Okay, so give us an example of how big should it be? You say that people don't set their goals high enough, Grant, and so then they're kind of moderately excited about it. They're not really, really juiced, right? So, I mean, can a goal be too high? Can it be ridiculous? Can it be?
No, I don't think. They're all ridiculous, man. Look, I mean, a beggar's on the street corner of L.A., he's at Fairfax and Hollywood, and he's begging for $1. Completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, why would I give anybody this? Why would I stop my car, pull over, and give a guy, I don't know, $1? Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's not because I don't have the dollar. It's not because I'm not generous. It's because I don't have the time, dude. I'm rolling through a light. Mm-hmm. That's a ridiculous target. Another guy says, well, now I want to make $1 million. All I'm telling people is this. Whatever your target is, let's say a financial target. Let's say the target's $1 million. I'm like, dude, multiply times 10. 10 is a power number. No, wherever you go, okay, numbers don't lie. 10 is a power number. It multiplies things at enormous numbers. And so I'm like, look, rather than writing a business plan for 1 million, why don't you write one for 10 million? Why would I do that? Because they're both ridiculous, dude. It's all freaking crazy, okay? You're going to be broke no matter which one of these you achieve. And he's like, what do you mean? You get $1 million, you're going to feel like a broke man. You get to $10 million, you're going to feel like a broke man. Because your ideas, okay, possibilities, your potential changes as you go up the food chain. When you were 10 years old, you had a different kind of swag than you're going to hopefully have when you're 20, and a different one at 30 and 40 and 50 and 60. The deal is to stay excited. The people that are most excited are going to win the game. And so the 10X rule just says multiply. You want to make 100 million? Multiply times 10, come up with a plan for $1 billion instead. Because it's all work.
So there's this middle class thinking, and you talk about that in the 10X book, breaking out of the middle class and the incomes of the middle class. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm talking about I'm starting to allude to another book that I'm working on right now. It's called The Middle Class, basically Get Out. Mm-hmm. That what your parents, and part of why people think is so small is because your parents basically were going, they were trying to build a lifetime of what's called the middle class, to get into the middle class. Particularly the last 40 or 50 years in America has been a construction of this idea that if I can just get into this club, the middle class, I'm going to be safe. We got good schools for the kids. We got 2 cars. We got a house we live in for our whole life. And we retire and we check into our IRA account and everything's going to be good and our Keogh's good. And then we're going to go on vacations and we're going to live happily ever after. And dude, that's a fantasy, man. This is no different than Cinderella and then the 3 little bears. The 3 bears, okay? For instance, Goldilocks, I think, was involved in that transaction, right? The Goldilocks and the 3 bears is a mythology of the middle class. The real middle class is like this, okay? 3 bears come home, find Goldilocks, pull her freaking apart, label her for being a thief, kill her right there, and have her after the porridge as dessert. And they all laugh about it. We killed that little white girl, didn't we? So what I'm saying is the middle class is a myth. It's a mythology. It's based on average. It's based on average education, average income, average savings. Everything's got to go right. If everything's perfect, if we don't live too long, everything's going to be fine. It's a myth that has been perpetuated by politics, right and left, Republicans and Democrats, to let the masses of people know, 250 million, everything's all right. You're better off than the people in Egypt.
Yeah, right.
There's stability here. It's just a big propaganda machine. The only place you want to be now is in the upper crust of the middle class, rich or very, very wealthy. Because everybody else is paying a price. They just can't tell you that.
Well, Grant, especially nowadays, because the middle class has been shrinking in America for quite a few years now. If you look at the stats, working Americans that are working regular jobs just over broke, they really are just over broke, job job, right? They haven't really had an increase in real dollar pay in a couple of decades. I mean, this is nuts. The middle class is just shrinking. It's under attack. Lou Dobbs wrote a great book called War on the Middle Class. And, I've said that in my seminars for years. It's like, you better make a very conscious decision to be above the middle class because the middle class is leaving you. And that whole concept of, I know this girl I used to date. I'll give you an example. She lives in Newport Beach. Her parents live in Newport Beach, grew up there, nice life, and I'd call that upper middle class even. And she thinks by being a school teacher and just sort of being mediocre and walking through life that she's going to have that same lifestyle her parents had, that built a bunch of real estate equity over the years and retired playing golf and traveling. And I mean, it's like, she's just fooling herself. There's no way that's going to exist for her now, when she gets to that age.
These are things people need to believe in. I mean, I want to believe in it. It's like telling a kid, oh, she's a little girl. She can believe in Santa Claus. Yeah, but sooner or later, the difference between kids and adults is sooner or later the kid finds out there's no Santa Claus. Adults actually don't know. This white chick that you're talking about in Orange County, I know she's white and I know she votes Republican.
Blonde hair and blue eyes.
Totally, right? And she's like, oh, everything's going to be all right. And if when Obama gets out, everything's going to be all right. No, it's not, baby. Both sides are crushing the middle class.
Oh, of course they are.
Because the middle class doesn't work. It never worked after the Industrial Revolution. There's no expansion in America. We don't have anything to sell in this country except servicing people. And so, the middle class basically is getting shipped overseas. You got to get rich now. I mean, I don't know how to tell people this other than I was with Steve Harvey in Atlanta. He's like, what's your message to people? Get rich, okay? Or you're going to spend a life just crying and say, oh my God, what happened? You got to get rich now. It's the only safe haven. And anybody can get rich. If you know how to live poor, or just get by, I've done both, you can learn how to get rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great point. I just totally love it. So habitually commit. You know what I like, Grant, and you're probably going to like this one too, is that movie with Jim Carrey, Yes Man.
Yeah.
When you just say yes to more stuff in life, good things seem to somehow happen.
Yeah, totally. My mom, before my mom died, everything I would ask her to do, she'd always say no first. When you get older, you start getting even more and more negative. And I think that's getting younger and younger for people today. But
maybe.
It's just say yes, man. Say yes and figure it out later. Everybody listening's had the experience of saying yes to your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your family, showing up for some event that you didn't want to, and leaving 3 or 4 hours later, bitching about it the whole way over there, and on the way home saying, I'm really glad you talked me into this.
Yeah, right. I'm glad I got out of the house and met some people or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. So habitually commit. Does that mean don't be cautious? It means just jump in no matter what? I mean,
no, I would definitely not be cautious. I'd be the most dangerous person in my environment. Okay. I think people need to be dangerous. I have 2 little girls. I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And the nanny comes in. The nanny says, now be careful, Sabrina. And Sabrina says, Papa, Nanny just said to be careful. Isn't she dumb? And I'm like, that's right, baby. We're dangerous around here. You got to be dangerous. You want me to be the most dangerous person in your environment. Cautious is actually costing people everything. And this again goes back to this middle class. Don't fly too high, stay low, don't get too much attention, don't take too many risks. Not taking risks today is actually the riskiest thing you can do. And so it's all these ideas that we were taught, like don't talk to strangers. Why? Mm-hmm. Well, because it's dangerous. Why? Because that psycho chick on HLN every night talks about somebody that took their wife out and killed them. What's her name? Nancy Grace. Okay, Nancy Grace, she's made hundreds of millions of dollars off of terrifying the public. Most people are not pedophiles. Okay, so like my kids, I'm not on top of my kids every second of every day. I had a nightmare last night that one of them walked into traffic. The 3-year-old walked into traffic, and I never found out whether she got hit by the car or she made it to the other side of the night. But I woke up, terrified. I'm like, oh my God, I'm teaching them to be dangerous, and I'm like, but I'm not going to teach them to stand on the sidewalk. I'm not going to teach them that every time they walk across the street they could get hit.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. I'm not going to teach my kids that every stranger should be a threat to you, because the truth is, every stranger on this planet. The strangers have everything you want. Your dreams, the ideas you have, if you're going to make them possible, it's because of somebody you don't yet know. And so don't be cautious. Throw that caution to the wind and go meet the people you need to meet.
Well, isn't that a great point you're making, Grant? Because I remember hearing the old saying, strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. And if you think about it, it goes way back to good old Jim Rohn, right? The late great Jim Rohn, which I'm sure you're a fan of Jim's. And, he said, your income will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So how could we possibly improve our situation if we don't go meet some new people? Unless we're hanging out with billionaires already, then we got to go out and meet some strangers and hang out with strangers.
Yeah. And notice the billionaires. The billionaires are always traveling off somewhere to meet somebody new because they're trying to do hookups, man. They're trying to do deals. See, they say knowledge is power. No, knowledge is not power. Okay. The power, because I know too many people with no knowledge. They got power. The power is in the hookup. And the hookups aren't at your house, okay? I'm not talking about utilities, electrical, water. I'm talking about the hookups. The only reason to go to college today is to meet the players. There's only 3 or 4 or 5 colleges maybe worth going to, because that's where the blue blood goes. That's where that old money goes. That's where the hookups are. And the difference between a contact and a contract today is a relationship. It's the people, man. And the people you know today cannot help you. It's the people I don't know. And every day I make a list. Who can I meet today? Who can I meet today? Today, hey, I get to meet Jason Hartman, okay? Who do I meet today that can change my life tomorrow? And I guarantee you, my friends, my buddies, the people I know, the people I had wine with or dinner with this weekend will not change my life tomorrow. It's going to be somebody I don't yet know.
That's an awesome philosophy. Okay, so just to follow up to that, Grant, what advice do you have with someone who's sitting here listening to this and they're thinking, you know what, that's true. The light bulb went on for them. They go, I got to meet some new people. That's the way I'm going to improve my situation. How do they decide who they need to meet? How do they approach them?
Yeah, what I would do is make a list. I'd make a list every day. Who can help me? Who can help my career? Look, I'm a selfish, greedy person. Okay. I'll say it before anybody else says it. I am selfish and I am greedy, and you should be too.
No problem.
You should make a list. But you see how we were taught not to be that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Don't get too much attention either, Jason.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what? Look at the Kardashians. They're going to make she's going to make $200 million off her little freaking apps game that just came out.
Unbelievable.
Why? Because she gets attention.
Right.
Because she's like, look, this is my life, dude. It ain't your life, and I'm going to make it into something big.
Yeah, and quit apologizing about it. Just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Hate me. You hate me. Everybody hates you. Got less than her. So I would just tell people, look, make a list every day. Who do you need to meet that would change your life? Hopefully, my name's on your list now. Okay, hit me up at Twitter at Grant Cardone. I'll respond to you. So make a list every day. Who could I meet today in my community? Maybe they're at church. Maybe they're in government. Who can you meet? Who can you send a letter to, an email to, a text to? Who could you tweet today that would change your life tomorrow? And then maybe while you're out in the marketplace, meet 5 strangers and you're going to find out they didn't fondle you. Wow, man, that person did.
Right.
Oh my God, that person didn't.
I didn't get molested when I met a new stranger. Yeah.
And some of the ladies listening are going to be like, I'm hurt and rejected now.
Right, yeah.
But if you're going to find out that like people are scared to death. Just if you walk up, they think you're freaking psycho. Mm-hmm. Because that's how introverted and small thinking our culture has become, where everybody's just kind of paying attention to their own little thing and then wonder why they don't get anything, because everything you want is outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is totally awesome, Grant. Okay. Pick another favorite concept of yours, whether it be from 10X or it be from your brand new book.
Sex, man.
Whatever. Okay. Is that in the book?
It could be 10X.
10X. All right. No, just whatever you want, just to kind of wrap
10X
us up
condoms, man. That'd be good. Those will go big.
I can see a new product launch here.
Oh, my God. 10X condoms by Grant Cardone. Video and audio included.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, think big.
I hope your audience can handle all this, okay?
It's all right. It's all right. It's good. But wrap us up with one other great concept from any of your work, any of your books, doesn't matter, or, maybe if it's not even published yet.
Yeah, I would tell people, like, look, you got to get alive now, okay? I mean, you got to get alive right now. You got to get like so engaged in the deal. You got to get so jacked up. You got to be like, you got to have this. I would just call it the 3 words: whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Okay. I mean, whatever it takes. Now, the first thing when I say that, Jason, what's the first thing you think of when I say whatever it takes?
A little part of me says, oh, this is ridiculous. Come on, I don't want to work that hard. Or, I don't want to sacrifice other areas of my life. That's like all the bad conversation that's going on.
Yeah. Or people people will say, oh, yeah, but I'm not going to be unethical. Well, I'm not talking about being unethical.
Right. That's another one. Good point.
And most people have already, don't have the life they want. So I mean, people always tell me that, oh man, if I go all out on this, I'm not going to get, what about this part of my life? Dude, you're already unhappy in that part of your life. Why are you kidding yourself? Okay. Look, there's 7 billion people that'll line up and lie to you. Don't be in your own line. Okay. Get honest that nobody is doing whatever it takes to get the life they want. And it's worth it, whatever it takes. And by the way, I'm not going to have part of life. I want everything to be 10X. I want my finances to be 10X. I want my marriage to be 10X. I want to be as a parent. I want to have it great in every area, not 1 or 2. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. 9 out of 10 things I do on a daily basis, I don't want to do. Okay. Most of the things that I do every day, I do not want to do. I was telling Steve Harvey this the other day. Steve's got 3 hours of radio every day. He does 4 or 5 hours every day of Family Feud. He hadn't been home in like 3 years, hadn't eaten breakfast in his home. I'm like, hey man, how many things you do a day that you don't want to do? And he looked at me, he's like, oh my God, I'm glad I finally met somebody that understands. Every day, no matter where you're at, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. And that includes the stuff you don't want to do. And I know you know this, that you just, these ideas that just do what you love and then success will show up. Look, you got to be willing to do a lot of stuff you don't love, you don't want to do, and you hate to do if you really want success. And that's what I would tell people to do, whatever it takes.
That's a great thing. And it's funny how you'll learn to be okay with and actually sometimes love or at least delegate the things you don't like to do. They're really just not that hard once you dive in and do them.
You'll be in a position now. First of all, the marketplace is going to see you as a unique individual. They're going to start valuing you. They're going to start paying you more than you think you're worth. And you're going to start getting breaks that other people don't get breaks. And because people, this commodity, this idea that you would do whatever it takes, show up early, stay late, make the extra call, go out and do the things you're uncomfortable. It is a rare breed of people that are willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Hey, Grant, give out your different websites. I know you've even got a great iPhone app that I downloaded and, just any of your stuff so people can find you and, find out all about you.
Yeah, you can go. Look, if you Google Grant Cardone, my name, Grant Cardone, then you can find out everything about me. There's a great site right now with a free video download called Tired of Missing Sales, tiredofmissingsales.com for organizations and salespeople. And there's also a university called CardoneUniversity.com for anybody that wants help branding, marketing, sales, negotiating. If you want help getting more money, it's called CardoneUniversity.com. We got 1,100 videos on YouTube. Go to YouTube, throw my name in there. Twitter, I beat it up all day long. I mean, they're about to ban me on Twitter, I think. I'm not hard to find, man.
Good stuff. All right. Awesome. Grant Cardone, thank you so much. Much success to you and really inspiring stuff. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guests' opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.